to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. We really do pray that you are well in all your ways, beloveds, and that you're moving into acclimatizing to life on your own terms. It's becoming a bit late to still be creating that because we have passed the 222 gateway, and you know the world is run by numbers, and I thought it would be very, very important to highlight the kind of gate, the karmic gate that we have gone through in this time. This is such a significant year, 2022, the 222 year. It is a year of balance. It is a year of restoration. It is a year of karmic debts where you receive what you've been putting out, where the tables will be flipped and those who are on the bottom will be on the top and those who are on the top will be on the bottom. And you know, in the last couple of years, it's become very fashionable to be like, Africans come home, African Americans come home to Africa, the great exodus. And, it's been great. It's been a great movement. But some of us, the reason we were saying it is because of the karmic gates that we just went through as a global, collective, beloveds. What has just happened. You see, as I said, the world is run by numbers, and we are in the same energy and the same kind of, we're in the same time, the same numbers that are happening right now took place in 1776 when there was that great declaration of independence in the divided states and it almost split apart, definitely go do your research. But the same energy that was there then that threatened to split the divided states, where they went through a collective dark night of the soul, is the same energy that is now here amongst us. We've been approaching this gate, which is why we've seen, the New World Order rushing to put in their agenda, rushing to, put in their interpretation, make their narrative the dominant one in their attempt to control the fallout, the total collapse of Babylon. Because Babylon, and here I'm speaking specifically about the divided states, they are about to go through their dark night of the soul as a collective. And this is why we've been advocating for our African American brothers and sisters and our global melanated family, our global sun people, to get out of the way, leave the whore of Babylon, literally. The divided states is about to go through, literally, now they're in that season. They're in that season. They were approaching it, now they're in it. It starts this year, it starts now, which is why we're seeing there's so many distractions out there. And the biggest one right now is, of course, World War III. But beloveds, what exactly is the dark night of the soul? I wanted to explain. There's someone who sent me basically a really, it was an Instagram kind of it was an Instagram post, and it was talking about what exactly this is. And you see, if you want to get into astronomy and astrology, it's all about Pluto, the Pluto return. And you see, these people, they know that the universe operates like a clock, like a perfect wheel. What goes around comes around. That's not just a statement. It's like a scientific fact, beloveds. So they tried to make, Pluto this, they demoted it from a planet, thinking that their narrative magic, their story magic would work on the universe, and that they would not face the imminent judgment that they're about to face right now. And, it's all about, you should definitely, if you're interested in this, you should definitely look into, what this means. Because basically, a dark night of the soul means that you literally die to your old self, to your old character. you find out that everything about you has to go. And this meme was saying, darker aspects of the USA's origins will be exposed, systems will be exposed, as the country must face its first death and rebirth. Whoa, I hadn't read that. At the return of Pluto, signifies a countrywide dark night of the soul as we the people transform and evolve. And I think it's someone called at Goddess Gloop or something like that. She's the one who had posted this. But beloveds, that's basically what the divided states is going through. They are going through a literal death and rebirth. But why would you want to be there for a death that you don't have to be there for? And that's why we've been saying, regardless of what kind of contacts you have or attachments you have to the divided states, you need to recognize that as an individual, whether you have rights, whether they owe you, whether they did you wrong, as an individual, what is happening collectively is the dark night of the soul. So as an individual, regardless of whether you're innocent, whether you're guilty, whether you're ascended, whether you're woke, whether you're awake, whatever, you have to bow to the collective energy of that continent, which is the collective dark night of the soul. And there are those who are supposed to be there during this process. That's why your dark of night of the soul started a bit earlier. And I'll actually do an individual dark night of the soul so that, because I think that's also important, because every single person who was connected to the divided states, who was connected, because they got us hooked emotionally and mentally with their narratives, where it was like the highest aspiration among many of us. So there has to be that dark night of the soul and the death of that part of us that was connected to Babylon and of the Babylons. And I'm just saying Babylon to signify the divided states, just to make this whole thing simpler. And of the Babylons on the continent, they will also face the collapse because it's an energetic thing. So anything that had that energy or used that energy to come up or to prosper must collapse with the Babylon system. And, it's a dark season that they've entered, beloveds. And the thing is, it's like Africa now is facing the total opposite. We're actually facing a rebirth. Looks like the spirits agree with me. There's like a reawakening of the soul. We've been through our dark night. Our dark night, some may say, lasted 400 years. It lasted, 1,000. The dark night of the soul was allowing ourselves to get our planet taken over. But that dark night of the soul is coming to an end for us. Maybe I'll do a whole thing about what Africa, the gates that Africa went through in the 222 portal. But, what is coming to the divided states, beloveds, is not pretty. And you need to be aware of it, And things like everything, death rates are going to increase. There's a death process that's happening energetically. So everything that you've ever read about, like when Egypt collapsed with the plagues and the frogs coming out of lakes and the earthquakes, that is basically what happens. And, I went further and I actually researched what they say about the dark night of the soul. And it talked about how, the dark night of a soul was a time when a person, but this time, let's just say the divided states is basically going to undergo a difficult and significant transition to a deeper perception of life and their place in it. And this enhanced awareness is accompanied by a painful shedding of previous conceptual frameworks, such as an identity. The identity the divided states has is going to totally collapse. Its position in the world, its relationship with other nations, with other peoples is going to totally collapse. And we've been seeing it coming since 2020 when we entered the first portal of exposure of 2020 vision, when, all the lies started to come out on a massive scale. But now it's like, as this exposure, now there's going to be the ultimate exposure. And where the identity, the rulership, the positioning that the divided states had is going to completely collapse as a new has to come, but the collapse is going to come first. And who knows how long that collapse will happen. You see, Africa, we've been in the dark night of the soul. And it has lasted, some will say hundreds of years, some will say thousands of years. But we're now entering our golden age. And so, beloveds, there is a separation right now of worlds. You're either going to go through a resurrection or you're going to go through a dark night of the soul. And it really is influenced by where on the world you are, where in this plane you are. Because now judgment has come in. The wheel is now moving. Karma is returning. What went around is coming back around. And depending on where you are energetically, where you choose to reside, and you have to use spiritual discernment, because not all of Africa will be spared from this dark night of the soul, but the center of it is the divided states. We may even, it may cause the total like collapse of the union and separation, which they were already hinting at last year. The US Army has already been preparing for domestic terrorists. They know the energy that is at play right now. And the justice has already been served spiritually, so it can manifest itself anyway physically. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. America, the divided states, Babylon in general is facing, its dark night of the soul, the great shedding, the great exposure, the great fall from grace. I mean, literally, it's like the fall of Rome, the fall of Babylon, the fall of Egypt. It is the great end of a civilization. And that is why we have been pushing for our brothers and sisters to return to the motherland and to return spiritually first. We did start a relocation service where we recommend you at least join. If you've been thinking of seriously relocating, join for like $5. Watch the almost 50 to 100 videos that we've done talking about relocating to Africa, the nitty gritties, and check that out and then keep it moving. But beloveds, the divided states, it's facing its dark night of its soul. It's total collapse, it's total crumble. And you need to get out of the way as much as possible. Some feel called to be part of the reconstruction process, but you don't know how long that dark night of the soul will go on for. And there's a kind of spiritual tug of war. So some craziness is going to be going on because it's all about controlling the narrative. Babylon is still, the demons of Babylon are still trying to even control the collapse, but the energy is here. They're trying to create that one narrative and steer the populace to one narrative. But beloveds, whatever the narrative is, you've seen with the metaverse, where they see our people, it is so important to get out of the way of the dark night of the soul of the divided states. If you can leave, leave. And if you don't feel Africa is your destination, ask for a safe zone. There's actually a YouTube channel, I'll definitely share it on my Patreon page, where this guy he talks about like how we're going into an ice age and all this stuff, and only certain pockets of the world will be safe, and he pinpoints Africa, but it's not, as I mentioned before the break, it's not all of Africa, it's certain parts in Africa that will have this total, that will be safe as we go through this, because it's like nature is cleansing herself. And it's an energetic cleanse first, and the energetic cleanse has been happening, but now physically we've gone through those gates of judgment and the physical cleanse is happening in earnest. Just check out alternative weather channels, like I think it's Mr. 333B or something like that, Mr. B333, something like that. See the floods that are happening across the world. The crazy weather circumstances that are going on. Don't fall for the distractions. Babylon is like a Titanic now. And remember in the movie The Titanic, where the band was playing and people were dancing as like the tables and everything were going down as the ship was sinking. That's the current situation, beloveds. And so don't take on a collective burden that is not yours. Our people are being set free right now. But if you're in the heart of Babylon, you can't expect to get that inheritance. That's your spiritual inheritance. Your spiritual inheritance is getting ready to come in now, but it can't happen if you're part of, the divided states' great fall. It can't happen if you're mixed up with those energies. Anything that will be attached to Babylon will fall. And so the most important thing right now is to move with spiritual discernment, to be working on yourself spiritually, to be working on your narrative. Because as High Priestess or Set said, the currency now is energy. So you need to protect your energy, you need to get your energy up. And it's that energy that's going to help you to move supernaturally in these times, which is what is required of you. We are in a new time, we are in a new season, family. And if you can, get out of the way, get out of Babylon. If you can't get out of Babylon, get out of the cities, stock up on food. You can see they're getting ready for like a great crescendo moment. The truckers are striking, which means the food is not being reshelved across the divided states and everything. Like some sugar is about to hit the fan. If you stocked up, keep stocking up, don't get tired. If you can, there's still a little window. As I said, if you start with the right intentions, Spirit will bend time for you. Come together as a collective, buy some land, put all your rent money together and get some land out somewhere. Like start to create your networks. If you have to remain in the city, start to create your networks. I hope you're homeschooling your children. Sugar it's not about to get real. The gates have already been passed. And you know what? It's a totally other scenario for Africa right now. Don't you want to be part of the great resurrection? Right now, we're in the birthing. And it's intense because it's like we're washing our bloodlines. So we're coming up under so many individual attacks on the motherland as we clean up these bloodlines. But we have to do that so that we can receive the highest version of our inheritance as an African people. But those are stories for the next show. Tuko pamoja.